Okay, so you may have seen from some of my recent posts that I got my 350Z back from the shop. The first thing I need to do is get the alignment set. It had a whole bunch of SPL parts installed. That's a previous video. If you want to find it, it is in the playlist. You can go back and check it out if you're wondering exactly what new parts were added. I'm not going to get into that right now just to save time, but a whole bunch of stuff was added, so it all needs to be tightened and set before you can head on the track. If you're just wondering what the spec sheet looks like, I'm just going to post the spec sheet at the end of the video, so you can just fast forward to the end and hit the pause button if you just want to copy the sheet, just to save yourself some time. If you're wondering what the rationale was for some of the settings, I'm going to try to explain it right now. So we're really concerned about your camber settings and your toe settings. And there's a third setting called caster, but really on this car and most cars, you're just going to walk in and tell the alignment tech, give me as much caster as possible, and that's the end of it. You don't really need to focus on anything else. I think basically everyone across the board just says, give me as much as you can on the caster. With camber, which is the degree of the tilt of the tires, we put a little diagram in so I don't have to explain it too much. With camber, based on past experience, I knew that I wanted a big number like -3.7 on the front and about -2 on the back. And camber gives you more cornering grip. It offsets the tire's ability to roll over in the corner, and if the tire is rolling over onto the sidewall, you're going to lose a lot of grip. So that negative angle allows the contact patch to have more width on the road as opposed to rolling over onto the sidewall. Negative camber isn't all good. If you use too much, you're going to lose straight line performance in acceleration and braking. So you kind of have to balance the ideal negative camber for the corner versus what you need in a straight line. And ultimately that can only be gauged by tire temperatures, trackside. So really what I'm talking about right now are initial settings. Then you'll have to go out and actually take some temperatures in for your circuit, see if you need to make any modifications. You also might need to make some modifications based on your driving style. So with camber, I'd asked for -3.7 and -2. I couldn't quite get that because I didn't have the SPL shims necessary to make that exact adjustment, but I got pretty close. So that's at the end of the video. Once again, like I said, if you want to check it out. So that's camber. And then the second thing to modify is toe. And we have to think about like the 350Z, and we have to think about what our driving preferences are. But my preference, and what I found with the 350Z in general, is that the front end is heavy and sluggish, and the back end is light, and it can tend to swing around like a pendulum. So with the front, I asked for a little bit of toe out. Think of toe out as making that end of the car more unstable, and toe in as making that end of the car a little bit more stable. And there's a little diagram I'll try to put in just so you can see what I'm talking about if you're new to alignment settings. So toe out typically makes an end of the car more unstable. Toe in makes it more stable. The front end is a common complaint with the 350Z. It's a little bit sluggish, it's heavy. It doesn't have the turn-in response of a lot of its competitive counterparts on the track. So a little bit of toe out seems to help with turn-in response. A little bit less turn of the wheel is needed to get the car to actually turn in. So a small degree of toe out is what I've started with. Conversely, the rear end of the 350Z is light, doesn't have as much weight on it. So I chose to have a little bit of toe in on the rear, and I think over the years this is just what my preference has been. Toe is not all good. You don't want to do it excessively. Because of the scrubbing angle of the tires, you will lose straight line speed if you have excessive toe. You'll also get excessive tire heating and tire wear. So it has to be balanced, stability or direction change versus straight line speed. So that's essentially the rationale with camber and toe that I use. And caster is like a no-brainer because you just say give me as much as possible. I don't even know how much they can really adjust it. As you look at the secondary settings now, I couldn't get a corner balance at this appointment because one of the scales was broken. I usually would like to get a corner balance, which is where they adjust basically the height of the coilovers to give give the best weight distribution on the tires that the platform can get. And you're going to notice that the ride heights of the back and the front are different. There's a slight rake to the car, and once again, that's because the back of the car is light, and establishing that higher height on the rear with that rake angle is an attempt to balance out the weight distribution of the car. But anyways, I hope this was a little bit helpful. I've got a whole bunch of videos coming out, I think, and just subscribe if you like them, and a whole bunch more will be coming out. Thanks.